Yo, what's up? Avian here, and today we're going to talk about what went on in college football this weekend, who won, who lost, and why. Then I'm going to explain why I have each team in the ranking spot that I do, and yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Oh yeah, real quick, right before we get into the video, this video is going to be a little bit shorter than my other ones because a couple days ago I got into a car wreck, and I'm pretty sure I have a concussion, so staring at a screen sucks, and yeah, thank you guys. Alright guys, so here's my top 25. Obviously, I have Georgia at number 1. They took care of Georgia Tech 45-0, easy game for Stetson Bennett and the Dogs, and they're going to hold my number 1 spot, and I believe they'll be number 1 after they beat Alabama in the SEC championship game. And then number 2, I have the Michigan Wolverines. They beat Ohio State this weekend 42-27. Jim Harbaugh finally got his first win against Ohio State in his 7 years coaching in Michigan, and honestly, they came in with the right game plan. They had it from the start, and Ohio State did not come ready to play at all, and Michigan really wanted this game way more than Ohio State did. They executed on defense. Their defense was amazing. Their offense played very well. Ohio State could not stop Hassan Haskins, and K. McNamara made the appropriate passes to win this game, but it was more about the run game. And then Ohio State, they stuffed them basically this entire game. They couldn't really do anything, so kudos to them for that. Watching this game, it was clear that Michigan had the advantage like the entire game, even when it came to the officiating. And I know people are gonna harp on me because of the refs or whatever, but there's just so many like calls that went towards Ohio State that didn't go towards Michigan, like a lot of pass interference calls and whatnot. So I don't know, it was just an ugly game. So congrats Michigan on the number 2 spot. Then next at the number 3 spot, I have Cincinnati. They beat East Carolina on Friday 35-13. You know, Desmond Ridder did his thing, Ford did his thing, and they won a game that they were supposed to win. And then after them, I have Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State finally got the win at Bedlam against Oklahoma, 37-33. You know, Sanders, he played a very tough game. And even Caleb Williams, he played a very good game too. But the real story was Kennedy Brooks. He ran for 139 yards in this game, and I think that was the dynamic that Oklahoma really needed, and I feel like they should have ran him a little bit more, even though Caleb Williams was 20 for 39, 252 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns. Spencer Sanders, he was 19 for 30, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So those 2 interceptions, and Oklahoma could not really take advantage of what they were giving them. And there was a muffed punt in this game as well, where Oklahoma State took over at like the 3-yard line or something, and then they scored a touchdown. I think Oklahoma just ran out of gas at that point. Then next we have Alabama. They played Auburn in the Iron Bowl. They won that game 24-22, and I just want to say poor Auburn guys. They made so many mistakes. Even their starting quarterback TJ Finley, like he had like a really hurt foot. He was out there hobbling like the second half. They made a couple of crucial mistakes, like Bigsby. He ran out of bounds, and when they were trying to close the game against Alabama, and they gave them the extra timeout, and they gave Bryce Young the time to get down there and get that game-tying touchdown. So Auburn, missed opportunity. I have Alabama at 5 because Auburn's not really that good, and they barely beat a hobbled quarterback, so that's where they're going to be. Then next, at number 6, we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They play Stanford this weekend. They won 45-14. Jack Cohn played pretty good in this game. He was 26-35, 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Tanner Mackey for Stanford, he was 20 for 25, 172 yards, 1 touchdown. They didn't play that bad, but they just could not convert in this game, and that's kind of just why Notre Dame ran away with it. And then after Notre Dame, we have Ohio State at 7. I think they're the best 2-loss team, which is why I have them there. Again, they lost to Michigan, and that's just where they dropped. And after that, we have the Baylor Bears. They're at the 8 spot. They played Texas Tech in Waco, and they won that game 27-24. Texas Tech, you know, they played a good game. They had a final field goal. It was like 53 yards away or something, but dude missed it, and Baylor came out with the win. Now they get to play Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game, and it's kind of refreshing to say that because Oklahoma's not there. Then after Baylor, we have the Ole Miss Rebels. They have their first 10-win season, I think, like ever or something like that, and they won 31-21 the Egg Bowl over Mississippi State. Matt Corral was 25 for 33, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rogers 38-58, he had 336 yards, 1 touchdown. they are going to be really good next year. Look out for Mississippi State to be really good next year. Then next, I have Michigan State sitting there at the 10th spot. They played Penn State this weekend. They won 30-27. Kenneth Walker had 30 carries, 138 yards. Peyton Thorne, he was 19 for 30, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sean Clifford played very well. He was 23 for 34, 313 yards, 3 touchdowns. But it just wasn't enough to beat Michigan State. And we all thought Michigan State was going to lose this game. At least a lot of people did. So I have to give them props, and I'm going to put them back in the top 10. Then next at the number 11 spot, I have Utah. They played Colorado this weekend. They won 28-13. The real story of this game is Tavion Thomas. He was 25 carries, 142 yards, and they played very good defense, and Colorado couldn't really get anything going, even though they did score 13 points. I do expect Utah to play a little bit better in the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon coming later this week. But speaking of Oregon, I have them at the 12th spot, or right behind Utah, and they played Oregon State, and they won that game 38-29. It was kind of getting crazy in the fourth quarter. There was like 34 points scored. Oregon State scored 20, and I think the Ducks scored 14. This game was pretty crazy, especially like passing wise. Anthony Brown was 23 for 28, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chase Nolan was 25-39, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then they got that game against Utah. Then next we got the team that Cincinnati is playing the AAC championship game, the Houston Cougars. I got them sitting there at the 13th spot. They beat Connecticut 45-17. This game was even close. I'm not going to talk about it much. Clayton Tune, he played very well. He was 21 for 30, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns, and I can't wait for that matchup against Cincinnati. Then next at the 14th spot, I have BYU. BYU took care of business. They beat USC 35-31. Not really much to talk about in this game. Good for BYU. Then next we have the Iowa Hawkeyes. They won against Nebraska 28-21, and again, I'm going to say it again. Poor Nebraska, guys. This is their 9th game. Their 9th game losing by single digits. They just cannot get it done. They let Iowa scored 19 in the final quarter, which is just, it's ridiculous how they blow games like that. Then after Iowa, I have the Oklahoma Sooners at the 16th spot. Again, they lost to Oklahoma State 37-33. And then after them, I have Wake Forest. They won their game against Boston College 41-10. This game really wasn't even competitive. Wake Forest, they showed their offense play very well. They actually play good defense in this game, which is just weird because their defense is horrible. But nonetheless, congrats to the Demon Deacons. They get to play Pittsburgh in the ACC championship game. And speaking of Pittsburgh, I got them right behind Wake Forest, and they beat Syracuse 31-14 in their game. They look pretty good. I mean, in the beginning of the game, it was really rocky for them, but they pulled away at the end and they beat Syracuse. And then after that, I have the Clemson Tigers. They played South Carolina. They won that game 30-0. Their defense is so good, guys. Clemson's defense is so good. Their offense, it hit some strides in this game. They played all right, but the real story was their defense, and that's why I have them at the spot that they're in. And then after them, I have the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. They played Louisiana Monroe, and they won that game 21-16. Honestly, they didn't look good in this game. Neither did Louisiana Monroe. It's kind of a boring game, but yeah, I have them at the 20th spot. And then after them, I have San Diego State. They played Boise State over the weekend. They won that game 27-16. And I'm going to be honest, guys. I thought Boise State was going to win this game because San Diego State just hasn't looked good the entire year. I mean, they did beat Utah, but that was it. But this game, they played okay. Boise State made a lot of mistakes, a couple of turnovers, and that's probably why San Diego State won. But I have them at the 21 spot. And then after them, I have North Carolina State. They played North Carolina. They won that game 34-30. That was such a good game. It was so offensive, and Sam Howell tried to keep North Carolina in this game, but in the end it was not enough. North Carolina State, they went down, they got a late touchdown to win. At the 23 spot, I have the Appalachian State Mountaineers. They played Georgia Southern. They won that game 27-3. Nothing really to talk about. This team is 10-2. I think they've played very well. They've won 6 games in a row, and they deserve their spot. And after them, I have Texas A&M. Talked about that. Texas A&M lost. They lost to LSU this weekend. They played okay, but honestly, LSU just played the better game. Max Johnson was 22 for 38, 306 yards, 3 touchdowns. Even though Zach Calzada was 20 for 35, 242 yards for 3 touchdowns. LSU had more of a run game, just like a little bit more, and more of a pass game. And it was Adler Orgeron's last game, so I expected LSU to win this game. Then rounding out the top 25, I have the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and they play Wisconsin. They beat Wisconsin 23-13 in this game. Their defense looks so good, and I think that's one of Minnesota's bright points is their defense. They don't let teams score a lot of points on them other than like Ohio State at the beginning of the year. They've been playing so well, and they're without Muhammad Ibrahim, which I'm pretty sure he'll be back next year. So Minnesota fans definitely have a lot to be happy about. And that's going to conclude our video, guys. Let me know what you think about this top 25. It was kind of hard to do because of my headaches and, you know, a lot of pain. I have a lot of soreness from the accident. So show your boy some love in the comments and a like. Don't crucify me too much. And next week, we're going to talk about the championship game matchups. I'm going to tell you guys who I think is going to win, and then I'm going to show you guys my playoff format. So I hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you next time. Peace.